G'day, I'm sitting here in my LX 570. I absolutely adore this car. This is a 2013 model and I bought it secondhand. The original owner that purchased this back in 2013 paid about $180,000 for this. This would have been second only to the LS 600H, which I think comes in around just over $200,000. I've just absolutely loved this car from the moment I sat in it. When I first saw one of these on the road, to me that's the ultimate arrangement. A V8, 5.7 litres, 4 overhead cams, and built by Toyota. Really, in my mind, you just can't get much better than this. I like everything about my LX 570. Being a 2013 model, it's got a proper touchscreen instead of that silly little mouse thingamajig that Lexus has in their later model cars. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my most recent four-wheel driving trip where I trekked to the summit of Mount Stirling, which is Victoria's second highest peak, and that's a journey that can only be done with a four-wheel drive. So let's get on with it. When I know I'm going off-roading, I always plan ahead and put these all-terrain tyres on. I'm using Maxxis Razors. They seem to be a pretty good all-rounder. I've driven in stones and sand on beaches with these tyres and they've always worked well. Getting ready to go off-road in this is pretty simple. Just put the car in neutral, select L4 to go low range. That automatically activates the front camera, which is really useful on some of those steeper inclines. The car will automatically select high for the hydraulic suspension and start moving into position. And that will lift the suspension height by around 50 millimeters, I think, from the typical road going height. In this section of video, it's actually coming from the completely parked position. In the parked position, the suspension does drop an extra 50 millimeters, so that's why you can see so much extra movement. The typical road going height is about halfway in between what you've seen just now. You can then select what kind of surface you're going to be traveling on using this switch. That only really works for if you're putting it in the kind of auto drive mode. I don't know what that's called, but it's kind of like a low speed or four-wheel driving cruise control. I never use that because I prefer to drive and feel what it's doing. Now this section here doesn't look too challenging or difficult. In fact, most of the footage looks fairly tame, but I can assure you the inclines of this journey are actually quite steep, and the LX 570 really just makes short work of all of those. It's probably not much different to driving a 200 series Land Cruiser in a lot of ways. When you're off-road, the extra litre of engine doesn't really make much difference because you're in low range and the amount of torque available is just incredible anyway. This corner here is about where the track starts to pick up its challenges, and I messed this up. I know for a fact, because I've done it before, that the car will swing around and do that turn in one complete move without needing to three-point, but as you saw, I messed my angle of approach up and therefore I ended up doing a three-point turn anyway. This is the first real incline on the journey, and from here on the track is quite steep. track also begins to get quite rocky, and as you ascend higher, the rockiness seems to get even more loose, much bigger rocks. And an interesting thing to note, inside the car, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything really strenuous at all. Inside the car is quiet. You could talk easily to the other people in the car. If you wanted to, you could listen to music. But the amount of work being done is evident from time to time as the driver. When the power steering assistance runs out of effort and you actually feel the steering wheel hard up against some of those rocks and obstacles, that's when you know there's actually a heck of a lot of strain and tension and work going through all of those suspension components. And if you go four-wheel driving in Victoria, you'll find that drivers are actually quite friendly. Everyone's out there to have a bit of fun. Nobody's trying to prove anything to each other, and so communication is really good between drivers on the roads. Makes it a very pleasant experience. Off-roading with 4-zone climate control, I'm used to that. I like it.
Oh, look at this one, guys.
And the 570 being able to seat up to 8 people, you can take the whole family and still have room for some other friends or family that may not have the good fortune of having a four-wheel drive.
Oh, the views!
Almost at the top.
You happy?
Mum probably would have forced us to hike if there was a hiking track. That's what you.
That's what I do too.
No, it's battery. No, just.
Like do something like falling or something. You feel
Oh,
in your
your stomach
chest.
drop?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I won't tell you what your dad used to call that.
Death. What? What did he used to call it?
I just said I won't tell you.
But I need to know.
Have you booked an element?
No.
I'll tell you what it was.
Yes.
We said Dicky tingle like a rainbow. I don't know why.
The next little bit we do on foot. Coming up now to my favourite tree. So after driving for an hour to get to my favourite tree, we headed back down the hill, back into Mansfield. As you can see, the day was absolutely perfect for this kind of trip, and we all had a great day. Anyway, there's a few highlights from my last fall driving trip across the summit of Mount Stirling. I highly recommend, if you get the chance to go and drive across this track, it's absolutely stunning part of Victoria and a great way to enjoy your four-wheel drive. Anyway, thanks for watching, and bye for now.